I'd like to call this meeting of the Lammersville Unified School District Board of Education to order at 7 o'clock. I'd like to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded. Please turn off or silence your cell phones. And at this time, I would like to ask for a moment of silence for the victims of the hurricanes in the Gulf Coast and Caribbean, the earthquake in Mexico, and the tragedy in Las Vegas. Thank you. Now, if I could have the Cuesta Elementary School step forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'm going to let the ASB coordinator introduce the kiddos.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Denise Bingham, and I'm the ASB coordinator and CJSF coordinator for Cuesta. Tonight, I've brought with me two students who will be leading you in the pledge, and then afterwards, they have made their own presentation to present to the board.
Thank you.
Salute pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I'm the president of ASB. My name is Nishita Zain. It's an honor to be here today. With me, I have the vice president, Ritesh Sivaraj. We are from Sebastian Cuesta Elementary School. Today, we will be talking about the fundraisers and events that we will be having at Cuesta. So let's get started. So recently, our ASB team held a fundraiser for Hurricane Harvey. Throughout the week of September 18th through the 22nd, we encouraged our students to raise any donations, books, canned food items, money, anything they could do to help. And at the end of the week, we successfully were able to donate a total of $1,054. So another event that's going on in Cuesta is the Student of the Month Assembly. So basically, that's a monthly assembly that the ASB team works together to organize for our students. So during the assembly, we have a monthly character trait that we encourage our students to show. We award our students with a certificate and a game. We also like to announce AR awards and birthday books, and we usually finish off the assembly with either a skit, video, or a speech. So some of the upcoming Student of the Month traits are citizenship, responsibility, fairness, caring, perseverance, and trustworthiness. So another fundraiser that we have going on in Cuesta is Scaredy Cat Scatter. Basically, it's a fundraiser to help us get more money to help our classrooms. During the Scaredy Cat Scatter, we have our students walk or run laps, and we ask them to donate money in specific amounts to help their classrooms. They can earn prizes for their donations.
Another thing that Cuesta is doing this year is Homecoming Parade. The theme this year for Homecoming Parade is gaming. So our school decided that we would be recreating the video game Cougar Rampage. We plan to do this by having some ASB members dress up as buildings, and our golf cart will be decorated as a skyscraper. Our Cougar mascot will be walking around, and they're going to be knocking around the buildings. Another thing that's going on in Cuesta is CJSF. CJSF is an after-school group that we're bringing back to Cuesta, which is being led by our ASB teacher, Mrs. Bingham. Every trimester, students will apply, and those who are qualified are going to work together and on a community service. And so far, we've had over 50 students who have applied to CJSF. By bringing back CJSF, we can give students the opportunity to help their community and also help with their academic achievement. The first community service that we're going to have for CJSF is the Fall Carnival. Red Ribbon Week is another event that's going on in Cuesta. Red Ribbon Week is basically a tobacco, alcohol, and other drugs and violence prevention awareness campaign. And it's gonna take place throughout the week of October 23rd and 27th. Cuesta is gonna have lunchtime games where students will participate, and they're gonna be chosen by their class. Throughout the week, students will be receiving dog tags, bookmarks, lollipops, stickers, and pencils.
So our students so far have been doing an amazing job. They've been working so hard, and we truly believe that they are indeed the leaders of tomorrow. Once again, I'm the president of ASB. My name is Nishida Sain. He's the vice president of ASB, Ratish Sivaraj. Thank you for listening to our presentation.
Nice job, both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Matthew Balzerini.
Here.
Colin Clements.
Here.
Ann Goodrich.
Absent.
Sharon Lampel.
Here.
David Pombo.
Here.
Simran Gunsi.
Here.
Approval and/or corrections to the agenda.
There are none.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absence. Item 5, recognition, science and student and teacher.
So if I can have the board come down and stand down on the front, we're going to do two ceremonial acknowledgements tonight. The first one being a small one, and then we have a large crowd of amazing youngsters out there that we're going to do in a kind of a different format. So it is my pleasure tonight to put on my glasses so I can read, and to acknowledge a very special student at our Altamont school who has been acknowledged at a national level, having started with a science fair project here in our district. Her name is Jacqueline Lee, and she's done something extraordinary. But also what's cool about this award is that she got the opportunity to acknowledge her inspiration, who happens to be her teacher, her science teacher. And this science teacher has done some pretty exceptional things here historically in our district as well. So we're going to be acknowledging Jacqueline and Mr. Thomas Lee for a teamwork and inspiration on one side and excellent work on the other. So let me get Jacqueline's accomplishments clear to everyone. So Jacqueline was awarded top honors at our county science fair, which allowed her to enter the state science fair, where she also earned top honors. She has also entered her name in the same project and was recognized in the Capital Science Fair and the 3M Science Fairs. Jacqueline was one of 300 students which made it to the semifinals of the Broadcom National Science Fair, and Broadcom calls itself Broadcom Masters, a program of society for science and the public. So out of 6,000 entrances, Jacqueline was in the top 300. So she made her name known here in the county, then she's had a shout out at the state, and then she took it national. So that's pretty incredible work, and we're all very proud of her. But what's great about a highly accomplished young person is that she also understood that there are people in her life who have helped get her where she's going. And the gentleman here to my left in the red shirt is the person that she identified as an inspiration, both as a science teacher, but also for his leadership he's provided in the science fair project at her school. But also understand that Mr. Lee is one of our top leaders across the district in our very accomplished Science Olympiad program. And if you weren't able to participate or be a visitor to, we filled up both sides of the big gym at the high school in a regional competition last year, of which he helped not only organize, but his school team did exceptionally well. So I think it's important that we also acknowledge the inspirational leader, Mr. Thomas Lee. So we are awarding Jacqueline an Outstanding Achievement in Science recognition, and I'm going to hand this to you, and then you're going to go shake those really important people behind you's hand, okay? All right. Yeah? All right. Okay, and the second part of our ceremony tonight, this is the first time I get to do this. Hold on, everybody. That was big. That was important for me. We're going to acknowledge students who earned a perfect score on their CASP results, which is the new state testing system. So we have students we're going to acknowledge in ELA first who earned a perfect score. Then we're going to call up a group of students who had a perfect score in math. And then the last group we're going to call up got perfect scores in both. So before we do this is an audience participation format, so we have to do a practice round that because of the large number of students who scored a perfect score, we're going to ask that everybody clap once. So we're going to do that as a practice round, and then you're going to have about 35 chances to do it live. So I'm going to count to 3, and when I say 3, you're going to clap enthusiastically. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I want to acknowledge the extra enthusiasm on this side of the room. Okay, so let's try it one more time. 1 clap. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. All right. So, yes. Yes. So this is our youngster format tonight. This is going to be students who were 3rd graders last year and 4th graders last year, and we're honoring them. We also have students who were in 5th through 8th grade and 11th grade that we're going to honor in our next board meeting. So the pile of actual perfect scores in our district is about 1 inch thick. So we're very, very proud of our students, the hard work of our teachers, our site administrators, all the way to our school board and their leadership. So with no further ado, don't forget 1, 2, 3, right? We're ready? All right. So this is for perfect score in ELA, Travis Leos. That worked. Abrahami Nair. Eliana Navarro. Come, yeah, I guess that was bad directions on my part. Come on down. Yeah? Yeah, and he says cast master right over here. This guy. Okay, here we go. We're going to loop around. That's right. When old people don't know what they're doing, you just... All right. All right. Rowan Ramesh. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Jabneet Sandhu. Shanzi Shahid. Leah Albert Tansanico. All right, so those are students who had a perfect score in ELA. You guys are going to stand right over there. Now coming up are students who earned a perfect score in math. So perfect score in math, Ashwin Han. Nanki Kaur. And James Wilton Reyes. And these are all the bows? Okay. So we're going to start now with the students who earned a perfect score in both ELA and math. Vincent Sendana. Adithi Kolipara. Andrew Mai. All right, so we can have all our youngsters come right up over here. Put your medals on. One of the things that you need to know about Lammersville is we win lots of medals and the kids look really good in them. So we have no shyness about wearing our medals. Come on up. They sound really good too. All right. So just come on.
Let's give the parents a round of applause for supporting.
I think we should give the kids a round of applause since they only got one clap each.
Thank you, sir. This one's kind of empty.
At this time, any of the students who've been recognized may go home and work on homework, or you're more than welcome to stay and see the rest of our meeting. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, if I may, I would like to make a comment on that presentation. It's a shame that Mr. Lee has already left, because I wanted to hear it directly from me. But Mr. Lee has been an inspiration for a number of years to students in this district, and I personally know what an impact he had on my son Chase, who took, because of the inspiration of Mr. Lee and the importance of science to the way that Mr. Lee was teaching, Chase took first at county in the 5th grade, took first at county took 5th at county in the 6th grade, went to state, took 3rd, and was a semifinalist for Broadcom. Didn't quite make the competition, missed it by that much, but he has been a perennial powerhouse in inspiring students to think and be excited about learning science. And I really want to thank him for the energy that he puts forth in that area for our students.
I concur with those sentiments. Item 6, committee reports. District Advisory Committee.
We haven't had a meeting.
English Language Arts Committee, DLAC.
We did have a meeting. The District English Learner Advisory Committee. Okay, it doesn't help when things pop up in front of what you wrote. Okay. Met at Lammersville Elementary School on September 21st. We started the evening by touring the new office, teacher workroom, and makerspace for students. The new construction is very impressive and should meet the needs of our students and staff. The meeting started with introductions and an explanation of what DLAC is. Mrs. Busuttil then explained the shift from the CELT test, which is the test that California English learners have been taking for many years, and the shift to the English Language Proficiency Assessments for California, known as LPAC. This new assessment will provide teachers with information in the areas of listening, speaking, reading, and writing for students whose primary language is not English. The vice principals then led table groups in a discussion of what a student needs to be successful. These ideas were shared out and the common themes were identified. The next meeting will be on Thursday, November 16th at 6:30 in the Lammersville Elementary Multipurpose Room.
Thank you. Education and Extracurricular Committee.
That's mine as well. So the Curriculum and Extracurricular Committee met on September 26th here in the district office boardroom. There were 3 parents in attendance, as well as the 2 presenting coordinators, 1 principal, and 1 director. The group was offered an excellent overview of the next generation science standards and how they will be delivered. We were also provided with information on internet safety and digital citizenship, and I encourage our parent groups to attend these meetings. You will get a lot of information that will help you support your students in their learning.
Thank you. Facilities Committee meeting. Among the items discussed were the application window, which will be opening on October 15th, a list of projects using fees generated from usage, Mountain House High School Theater, and what the rules for usage might look like once it's opened up to the public, and the use of alcohol at events held at our facilities. Do you have anything to add, Trustee Clements?
That we decided to have a workshop, a committee workshop, to get thoughts and ideas on the potential for the alcohol policy, and because we didn't want to have district staff, bring us a rock and then, oh, that's too big or that's too small. If the public really wants this, then we want to talk about it. And I think I speak for both of us when I say we're not sure whether we'd even bring a recommendation to the board. We're just fact-finding and trying to get our arms around what that might look like if we did recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a statement to make.
Sure.
I reviewed the agenda and I watched the meeting, and I'm surprised and disappointed that the alcohol policy was discussed at the committee level. Mr. President, you brought this as a discussion item to the full board on May 17th and did not receive consensus to modify the existing policy. You specifically asked for consensus of the board to take the item back to committee, and you did not receive the majority affirming that. In fact, I said it would be disrespectful to the committee to work on the policy if you don't have a majority to even change it. So now staff has spent a significant amount of time and an effort conducting research for the committee meeting. The committee spent a long time talking about it, and now they're talking about holding a workshop. Mr. President, you put your personal interests above that of the board's and abuse your presidential power by putting this item on the committee agenda. I think that the board, the committee, and the staff deserve an apology. Discussion by the committee to hold a workshop is completely out of line. The committee works at the pleasure of the board, not the board president. If you'd like to continue putting this on a board agenda to talk about, to get consensus to take it, by all means do that. But I'm about process, and we went through the process, and you violated what the board wanted. I'm well aware the foundations and PTA would like to have this policy amended. They're looking out for the best interests of their organizations, and I respect that. I'm doing the same. This comes down to risk analysis for me. While the financial benefit would be great for those organizations, the risk that we place on this district is greater, not only financially, but in reputation as well. I'm heavily involved with boards and administrators throughout the state. I've heard from people both in the county and at the state level that said we are crazy if we even consider this. It's a shame that we have to worry about liability in the state, but we absolutely do. And I've heard discussion that it's about insurance. It's not about insurance. It's about liability and the potential of being sued. More than that, it's an ethical issue. We just had a presentation where they're talking about Red Ribbon Week and not using alcohol, and we're going to condone alcohol on our campuses. I disagree. I don't think it should be at the committee level.
I'd like to comment as well. I was going to say this during my board report. I didn't see the agenda. I did not know it was going to be discussed at the Facilities Committee. I must address something I read on Facebook. It said, Facility Committee met tonight and alcohol use was a topic. The recap is that they need to find more places with policies in place to read and pull from to make a policy that works for LUSD. So if you know any places, they don't have to be in California, that have policies for this, please check out the policy and forward it to Colin Clements and David Pombo if it's good. We aren't there yet, but I think we're past insurance being the initial concern now. Just need to find some quality examples. I don't understand why this was addressed at the Facilities Committee when this board declined to re-agendize this issue. We had previously voted, and there was no new information to be considered, and it was discussed in May.
I would like to respond to that, although I was not prepared to respond to this. I didn't realize that two of the board members were going to pretend like I didn't bring this up at our last, or not our last board meeting, at a previous board meeting, and say that we would be looking at this at the committee level and seeing if there was something that we could bring back to the full board. We did not vote on this. There was not consensus by the board, but the full board was not present at that time. And I made it clear to the rest of the board that I would be putting this on a future agenda for the Facilities Committee, and that's where we are. And at this time, unless I get legal advice otherwise, we will continue with it at the committee level.
Mr. President, I'm asking for consensus as to what, well, you're not going to get it tonight because there's not all five of us here, but I'm against the committee. The committee's job is to do the work of the board. And if the board doesn't want to change a policy, the committee doesn't have any work to do. So you asked for consensus of the board, and you didn't get it. You did not have the majority saying to take it back to committee.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
my perception is that the board discussed the issue. They did not discuss a potential policy. They discussed a concept. And I believe, I still don't know if there is a policy and actual practice that I would be in favor of. But I do know that enough people in the public have come to me and said, we would like you to consider this, that I believe that the board would not be doing its duty if we didn't at least consider a full-throated policy, which the Facilities Committee may decide, okay, this is what it would look like, and we don't think we would recommend this. And yes, it's true that the committee serves at the pleasure of the board. The president sets the agenda, the chairman sets the agenda. I can show numerous emails from the president saying that the agenda is in their purview. So I respect your decision. You haven't done anything. All you've said is we should consider it. That's it.
This board did vote. That's all I'm going to say. We did vote, and we discussed it in May, and this board said there's no need to bring it back. We were all here that night.
No.
No,
You weren't
I
here
was
that
not
night?
here.
Oh, you weren't here. Well, there was still enough votes to say we
Well,
don't
in
need to
that
bring
case,
it back.
I think the bigger issue here is we need to find out what the board has to dictate what the committees can and can't do. And that obviously hasn't been done for the Facilities Committee, so I think that this board needs to revisit that before anything else. What does the committee do? How does it get on the agenda? And if the full board doesn't agree with something, why on earth does it go in a committee? The committee's job is to bring back specifics at the board's direction. That's the goal of a committee. You work for the board. I'm sorry, if you don't have consensus from the board to take an item to the committee, why are you wasting staff's time doing it?
Why was this not brought up when I said in open session that I would be taking this up with the committee?
My statement was it would be disrespectful
No,
to
not
take
at-
it back to committee.
Not at that meeting. At the last meeting, when we had people here that spoke about it,
I don't recall you saying that,
that we can.
because I
we
would have
can-
absolutely
we can
spoken
certainly
up
find
and
it.
reminded you that you don't have consensus of the board.
Mr. President, I think we're not going to get to a consensus in this meeting because one of our members is not present. I would suggest that we have a discussion when all 5 of us are present, sir.
And I would just like to say that all I'm interested in is exploring whether or not there is a policy that may or may not be a fit for our district, and bringing it to the full board for a yea or nay vote, and then we move on.
And my issue is there's a lot more productive things that staff can do with their time besides chasing a policy that may never change.
Well, that could be said of any policy, couldn't it?
I suppose.
Policy that basically doesn't exist yet in California, otherwise we would have found it. We looked for samples.
That's what we're looking for.
Okay, I don't want.
Moving on, Policy Committee.
The Policy Committee will be meeting for the first time on October 18th. Based on some of the discussion here just now, I'd like to propose making the Policy Committee a board committee. Policy is one of the few things that this board actually has jurisdiction over, and I think it's important enough that it should be a board committee, not a staff committee. I think that we should drive what policies to look at, what policies to update, and the timeline to do that. I think that the policy needs to be a lot more interactive with the board. I don't think it should just be reviewing updates by CSBA. We need to go back and look at some of the existing policy. I know that staff has that interest to do that, but I think that it should be driven by the board. We can wait till discuss this when Trustee Goodrich is here if you like. She's on the committee as well, and I haven't spoken to her about that, but that would be a desire I'd like to explore.
Yeah, I think we should discuss that the next time when Trustee Goodrich is here, because there's 2 very different things: new policies and the very routine updates that we're getting from CSBA. They're different.
I'm sorry, not new policy. I'm talking about going back and revisiting old policies that are not yet CSBA updates, but ours, like facility use. There's nothing in our policies currently about the facility use handbook. There should be. And that's not a CSBA update at this time, so,
Right.
you know, that's
I'd
my...
still like to see the CSBA updates go through staff, because most of what they're doing, we don't have a choice. Occasionally, there's options in there, but usually it's legalese that we don't have a choice, that we just have to pass it.
So that can be tabled for a future discussion.
All right.
Mr. President, I'm sorry. I got slightly discombobulated or forgot about one comment. I believe that in the Facilities Committee, we did request that district staff provide some clarity, maybe through the attorneys, on a couple of the policies that were reviewed during the Facilities Committee. And I would like to make sure that that clarification comes to the board for my own personal comfort and edification.
All right. Thank you. Safety Committee.
Safety Committee met today under the direction by our new Associate Superintendent. Excellent job. The meeting was very productive and efficient. A poll was conducted with some of the committee members around what topics wanted to be focused on this year. A lot came up, but we tried to narrow down the scope. Traffic safety on our sites, preparedness drills, active shooter training, playground safety were some of the ones that are going to be discussed first. Like I said, a lot of others were discussed, but we're going to focus on these first. We also discussed the Community Emergency Response Team training, something that the prior fire service provider gave us. It was asked by the new fire service provider for that training, and we have yet to get it. Mr. Harrison met with the fire department. They assured him that they'd be going to train the trainer in November. And I have to give credit to one of the committee members who asked the question, well, didn't they already promise us before they were going to go and a long, long time ago? And that was the same exact comment that I wanted to make, because it's true. We're not at the point where I think the board needs to intervene yet, but I think it's coming. More to follow on that.
Thank you. The Wellness Committee has not yet met this year, but we have a meeting coming up on October 11th, 3:30, right here. Moving on. Governing board reports. Madam Student Trustee?
2 weeks ago, I attended the football game that was covered by Fox News, which was really exciting. I also played in last week's senior versus juniors powder puff game, which the seniors won, which was also really cool. On behalf of Hack Merced attendees from Girls Who Code and NetGen Club, I also wanted to say what they thought of the whole opportunity, and they thought it was great, and it was a great chance for them to get their foot in the water of the coding world, and excited to attend more hackathons in the future.
Thank you. Trustee Clements?
I did attend the facilities committee. I did want to mention that I did attend the last varsity game, and unfortunately, I would attend JV, but I didn't get out of work in time. Unfortunately, the varsity team did not emerge victorious. It was a single elimination tournament, and they came in second, and the opposing team came in second to last. But I worked concessions, and so I wanted to, my son does play, it is self-serving, my son does play varsity football. I would like to attend the varsity game, but I also do not want the athletic boosters and the work that they're trying to do, I do not want to see that fail. And there was not enough help. I really want to thank the cheer team, the cheer team's parents, stepped up, and a few junior varsity team parents stepped up. But I really am imploring the rest of the sports. Baseball, I know you're not playing yet, but if your children are going to be playing sports, this organization is trying to raise money to help you. So please help us. And I did want to address some comments in the community about the Great Schools website update, which gave our high school a 6 out of 10. And my comment is, that I only heard through the grapevine. My wife, I don't know if it was Twitter. By the way, I'm not on Twitter. I never will be. I don't know if it was Twitter or a Facebook post or what, but there was a thread of some kind speaking of that score. And so I went and I looked at that score. And one of the scores was for advanced courses in the high school. We got a 23%. And anybody who knows anything about our curriculum knows that advanced courses is one of the things that this high school, vis-a-vis every other high school in the county, excels at. So if you look at that score alone, you know that the data is flawed. And I confess that I find it somewhat frustrating that an article that quotes is it the dean of San Joaquin Delta College? Is it dean chairperson, the lady, the head?
Right.
Is it dean?
Sure.
Okay, the head, when she says that our students, that our programs perform better than any other high school that sends students to the college, and our students perform better than any other high school that sends students to the college. When you see an article that quotes somebody who has their fingers in the data, that knows firsthand, that gets no recognition. But a great school's website score that is unvetted, and quite frankly, not correct, receives so much attention. And thank you to the district. I know that we are providing quote-unquote accurate information to the Great Schools website. This is not a knock on district staff or the high school. There is no way. The thing came out in mid-September is when it got updated. So there's no way that you could have known and responded that quickly to that. Thank you for responding. My comment is, to the people in the public, before you freak out about something like that that's unvetted, ask the question. I'm sure that the district staff would be happy to answer, and that would give them a heads up that, hey, this data is flawed. So anyway, I just had to make that comment. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Trustee Lampel?
Thank you. When Trustee Clemens showed me the great school rating when we got here tonight, I reminded him that naysayers go on these types of websites. Families who are happy don't bother. They don't waste their time like that. Hopefully our community is watching our board meetings and seeing the presentations that are done by staff that are accurate, current, and can be proven. On Monday, I attended the CSBA Roadshow with President Pombo, Superintendent Nicholas, and Trustee Balzerini, who was the host of the event as a CSBA director. I will let him report on that event since he hosted it. I also attended the Mountain House High School football game against Fortuna. Our community and team spirit is absolutely contagious. It was nice to watch as the parents of the senior music students were honored. Like the athletic boosters, this set of parents, of which many are the same, give a great deal of their time and dedication to our students to make these programs successful. My hat is off to both of these groups of parents. Tonight, the board was afforded an opportunity to tour the new Learning Commons at the high school, also known as a library. This Learning Commons is not the library we grew up with. It contains state-of-the-art technology and is truly designed to meet the needs of every learning style. And before anyone asks, yes, it will have books, right, Trustee Balzerini? I'm excited to see it when it is fully functioning and full of students, and I'm very proud of what we have to offer our students. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustee Balzerini.
Last week, I toured the Discovery Challenge Academy with County Superintendent Musalimas, and they had a ribbon cutting last year, and I wasn't able to attend, so I called them up and told them I'd like to check it out. It's an excellent opportunity for students who are credit deficient or at risk and need a structured environment to excel. I visited a couple of the classrooms who are afforded teachers that are provided by San Joaquin County Office of Ed. Great conversations with a couple students. One specifically who just completed the program, who you guys met, and they're approaching graduation. The academy works with each cadet to also help them with future job placement or getting into the military in the future. The National Guard coordinates all the functions, and the teachers, again, come from the county. I had one of the cadets, I was kind of just standing in the back of the room. I guess one of the cadets asked the staff, who's he, what's he doing? So they brought me over and I introduced myself. And I said, so how are you doing? He goes, oh, just turning my life around. And to me, that made a huge impact. I thought, that's good stuff. So for us, for our district, and for this board, that will definitely be a resource in the future. President Pombo, Trustee Lampel, thank you for coming to the grassroots. I know it's hard during the week. A lot of people can't make it there. But we were able to watch the Challenge Academy's Color Guard came in and did the Color Guard for that meeting, and it was well received. The roadshow was great. CSBA came out, talked about some of the grassroots advocacy they're working on and some of the training that's coming up for board members, and they'll be sending a lot of email now in the future. Last week, I attended the board of directors for CSBA. Committee appointments were made. I'll be serving on the legislative committee again and the CSBA board development committee. We spent a lot of time discussing the impact of pension costs, the increases on California schools. Our executive director sent a letter with graphs and breakdowns of the issue showing how pension costs will triple over a 10-year span for school districts. He sent that to all the state legislators. I forwarded a copy to all of you. Monday, during the day, I went to the Digital Trends Workshop in Stanislaus County. The focus was cyberbullying and inappropriate pictures that students send to one another and all the laws surrounding them. All-day class, very informative. I would not want to be a high school kid today. What pressure these kids are under, and we need to make sure that we're adopting policy to support what's going on there. Then again, tonight I went to the Learning Commons tour. Thank you for that. That's my report.
Thank you. I attended along with Trustee Clements, Goodrich, and Lampel, the football game against Fortuna, and as was previously mentioned, although our Mustangs fought hard, they unfortunately suffered the first loss of the season. I also attended the CSBA Roadshow with Superintendent Nicholas, Trustee Lampel, and hosted by our own Trustee Balzerini. There was a lot of exciting information presented there, and I look forward to more similar meetings in the future. Earlier today, I attended the Lammersville Elementary School Site Council meeting where Principal Busatil gave a presentation on the CASP test results and the California dashboard. And along with some of my fellow board members, I attended a tour of the Learning Commons at Mountain House High School. Wow, what a beautiful facility. I'm so happy that our students are going to have this available to them.
President Pombo, could I ask one thing?
Yes.
I'd like to know what class the students that are with us tonight are reporting to, because I can't imagine you would be here on your own volition. This isn't exactly exciting stuff for a teenager. What'd she say?
Government?
Yes. Okay.
Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
At this time, the board is ready to receive public comments. The board shall give members of the public an opportunity to address the board either before or during the board's consideration of an agenda item. At a time so designated on the agenda, members of the public may also bring forward to the board matters that are not listed on the agenda of a regular meeting. The board may refer such a matter to the superintendent or designee or take it under advisement, but shall not take action at that time. The board may place the matter on the agenda of a subsequent meeting for discussion or action. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. Seeing no items before us, we shall move on to item 9, consent items for consideration. Staff report?
None.
Usually read off what's on them.
Yes, I could. Approval of governing board minutes from the regular meeting of September 19th, ratification of contracts under $25,000, ratification of 2017-2018 hires, ratification of resignations, approval of updated 2017-2018 fundraisers, and the acceptance of a donation from Tracy Sutter Community Hospitals for supplies of gloves, isolation gowns, sutures, valued at approximately $2,000 to the biomedical program.
I'll move for approval of consent items.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent.
So I'd like to say two things before, well, one thing before I do my usual. I really like the new format of having an agenda item for the hires, the resignations, and it keeps everything nice and organized. So I would like to welcome the following new employees to our district. Devin DeCary, a music and band teacher. Carmina Quadros, a special education teacher. And Benjamin Lopez, a physical education teacher. Welcome.
Welcome. Moving on to item 10, District Administrative Report, Superintendent Report. Dr. Nicholas?
Yes, I have we're going to do the business first and then the fun stuff second. So I wanted to address very briefly a little bit of what Trustee Clements was talking about great schools. The community needs to understand and know that when you open up a new school, the data that comes in, especially, let me say it this way. We opened the school at 450 kids. It grew to 850. We're now over 1,200, and we've done that over in the process of 3 years and 4 months. And anytime you have big, large jumps in terms of student population, the entire dynamic of what is offered in the program is going to change. So any website that doesn't actually come through the district or through CalPads, which is the state repository of school data, they're going to get old data that doesn't have a positive reflection. What I will report to the board and the community is that through our curriculum department, we have already contacted greatschools.com. And what I'll say is it's really nice when you start your day and you have a fired up board member who wants to talk about data. And so that fired up nature of this entire board.
I wasn't fired up at the district.
No, I know. It's about defending the hard work of the entire community, and we want an accurate picture. If we're not doing something right, we'll fix it, but when we're doing something right, don't tell us we're not. And long story short, we've already contacted greatschools.com. We found out what their system was and how to get them the right data. Now we have to go to through a mechanism at the state, and eventually they'll correct their data. So that's point number one of business.
So it was fake news.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's just hope it's not as hard to correct as a credit score.
Yes, it appears that there's a few layers like that, though. The second one is there has been some fair rumblings in the community about the service provided through our County Office of Education, not their fault, of a company that's contracted to serve our special education's busing needs. But I want to assure the board and the community that the county is alive and well. They're very aware of this. Lawyers are now getting involved, and essentially the company expanded, and they ran into a shortage of quality drivers. They have put some extreme measures in place, and I was told that I think it's 10 bus drivers have been brought from another region to who are quality drivers to start to amend and fix the problem until they get properly trained people. The issue is not one of safety. The issue of one is pickup and drop off and long wait times for kids. So I wanted the board and the community to know that we are on it, the county's on it, and all of the proper strings are being pulled and pressure points, including our associate superintendent meeting with the lead of the company. So we're on it. The fix won't be immediate, but it will be as soon as possible with the support of County Superintendent Musolimus. Now to the fun part. We want to acknowledge the graying temples, the age lines and wisdom that are growing as we speak to our Director of Human Resources, whose birthday is today. So we want to acknowledge Mr. Ted Miller's 51st birthday. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And second, Denise Rizzo, is your pen working tonight? Okay, we have a report for you. Okay, I'm going to call up Director Sherburne. And oh my gosh, the director who directed the work on this as her role as assistant superintendent. If you notice it got brighter in here, it's because my face is red. So Assistant Superintendent Sherburne is going to give our score results from the CASP.
Good evening, trustees. Mr. President, it is my pleasure to be here tonight and talk to you about the excellence that continues at Lammersville Elementary. Perhaps we should send this data over to Great Schools. So we have had an amazing year on behalf of all of the students and the teachers and the rest of the staff and the classified staff that all contribute to the amazing work that we've been able to accomplish with student learning last year. So we have on this slide our English language arts are on the left side, and the math scores are on the right side. And what you'll see is that nice medium blue column with 67% on the far left, and then in the middle at 57%. That is Lammersville, and we are exceeding all of the other districts that we have there in the area: Escalon, Livermore, Tracy, Manteca, Ripon, and Lincoln, by good amounts. The closest to us in language arts is a good 6 percentage points behind us, and in math they are 7 percentage points behind us. So not only do we continue to have the highest test scores in the area, but also outperforming Livermore right over the hill, and we have made significant growth that I'll go over on the next slides. So what you have on this slide is math scores are at the top for the last 3 years, showing the comparison between the county, the state, and Lammersville. And Lammersville is in the green. So without looking at any numbers or anything else, you can see that the green lines far surpass all of the rest of the lines for the county and the state. What you might not notice is that if you look at any of the county or state lines between 2 years, there is little or no growth. So the state and the county have remained fairly stagnant or slow growing, while Lammersville in math at the top and language arts at the bottom, you can see has continued to have really good growth, 58 with 4% growth to 62% in language arts, all the way up to 67%, so another 5% growth. And in math, the same thing, 48% to 51, all the way to 58% this year. So that is pretty remarkable growth. Not only are we the highest achieving in the area, not only are we outperforming the county and the state, but while the county and the state remain stagnant, we are growing. Looking at our subpopulation data, we have African American English learners, special ed students as significant subpopulations for us. So we look at that data for language arts and math, and we have seen over the 3-year trend, for the most part, growth. What we saw this year, unfortunately, is that we had a decline for our English learner student population, and we are looking at that more and in depth. And one of the measures that we've put in place already is that we are recommending hiring an additional coordinator of GATE and English learner programs to continue to work on supporting staff and implementation of ELD programs, and that would be paid for out of categorical and supplemental funding sources that are designed to be used for those types of services for students. On this slide, you can see the achievement of every grade level. What is most important in telling about that is not only do we have, high scores at our grade levels, but the green numbers at the bottom. Green is the color coding for meaning that the grade level improved. So every single grade level in our district improved their performance over last year. In math, we have a very similar picture where we had growth at every grade level except for one grade level, that grade level being 5th grade, which is a little bit of an anomaly. We have looked at that. We have a little bit of an idea of what is going on there. But overall, a really, really strong picture.
How much was the drop there?
4%.
Question, and I probably should know this, but is that grade on grade or grade on previous grade?
That is compared to their last year's grade. So like third graders last year compared to third graders the year before.
Okay.
So non-cohort. So what are the highlights overall? We had 7th grade being up 13% in language arts. We had some really strong showers that just deserve to be celebrated, getting all the way to 75%. 8th grade was up 9% to 71% total. All of the other grades increased between 3 and 5%. And 11th grade is our clear high ranking winner at 79% proficiency in language arts. Just amazing. In math, we have 7th grade was up 10% to 60% overall. 8th grade was up 15% in their math achievement. And all grades, with the exception of 5th, increased. 11th grade math went up 4% to 41%, which I'll note is the highest high school math score in the area, even though it's not what we want it to be. It is still a level that is surpassing other high school in the Valley area. And that concludes my report.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. All I can say is kudos and thank you to staff, district office staff, our administrative staff, and especially the people doing the work with the kids, and that's our teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. That's a great report.
Very good news.
Great schools needs to see that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions or comments by the board?
We need to pause to make sure that Ms. Rizzo gets all of this.
Item B, District Maintenance and Operations Report. Mr. LeGrand.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Good evening.
For me, I attended the District Facilities Committee meeting last Thursday. We did our annual fire alarm testing, was completed at Lammersville last Friday afternoon. I attended all 3 construction meetings today, Mountain House High School, the Altamont Preschool, and Hanson Elementary. I was at the Safety Committee meeting this afternoon. I'm happy to report the playground at Lammersville is pretty much done. Well, all the materials in. We have a little bit of cleanup to do around the edges, some trash and pallets and stuff like that. So we should be done by tomorrow. Another thumbs up from Irene. It's always a good thing. So the little igloos are all gone from the asphalt area, 110 of them. So that was quite the ordeal there. Took us about 2 days to get all those in. Irene's asked that we finish the garden, our part of the garden project by next Friday so she could do her stuff for her grant. So we'll get that done by next Friday. That's upcoming for us. The architect designing the security camera systems has asked for more blueprints and drawings. I will collect those and bring them to them I can't do it tomorrow. I can do it on Friday. I told him I'd bring it to him on Friday in Sacramento. And then finally, I'm working with our grounds company and electrical contractor to install a new booster pump at Cuesta Elementary. They don't currently have one, so that's what we have upcoming.
Booster pump for?
Sorry, for the irrigation system. Sorry.
Yeah. Just want to confirm.
And that's all I got going on. Any questions?
I just want to thank you again for the camera stuff. I mean, that's something the safety committee's been looking for a long time, and I know this board had the same desire, so thanks for putting the work in.
You're welcome. The current plan is to have it designed by this month and then go out to bid sometime next month in November. Hopefully, with the big climate the way it is, the time of year, we should get a better price than we would if we went out in the summertime. So that's our plan.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Irene, excuse me, Mrs. Bustatil, the playground is all good?
It's open for students tomorrow.
Oh.
The primary assembly today to go over rule expectations, and tomorrow I'm doing the upper grade assembly because they let them come and play as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 11, action items. Consider approval of 2017-2018 intra-district transfer requests. Staff report?
None.
Move to approve 2017-2018 inter and intra-district transfer requests.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Item B, consider approval of variable term waiver for certificated employee Claudia Luna Hodgman at Mountain House High School. Staff report?
This approval will give this employee more time to complete their credential requirements.
So I'll move for approval of the variable term waiver for certificated employee Claudia Luna Hodgman at Mountain House High School.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent.
You didn't ask for comments, so can I say something?
Certainly.
Of course, I was going to vote aye because I made the motion, but I did want to say that I reviewed Ms. Luna Hodgman's resume, and I must say that we're lucky to find such a highly qualified and experienced candidate during a teacher shortage in some credential areas in California. I hope she's able to enroll in a credential program to become fully qualified according to the Commission on Teacher Credentialing, but as an HR specialist, I had no concerns about her experience. She's coming to us. She probably qualifies for a credential just based on experience. I was very impressed with her paperwork.
Thank you. Further comments by the board?
I just want to thank Trustee Lampel for that commentary. I held back because it looked fine to me, but, so thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I sit at home on Sunday and I read these and I'm like, wow, where did Ted find her? She's great.
Item C, consider approval of school-sponsored overnight trip for the Mountain House High School wrestling team to Reno, Nevada for the Nevada Classic Tournament, December 27th through December 29th of 2017. Staff report?
We recommend the board approve this, but I also want to say that if you haven't been to a big-time wrestling tournament, it's like no other experience. I recommend everybody spend a little time watching like 4 or 5 matches going on at one time, and it's a very, very intense, amazing group of athletes.
I just want to say thank you for the very complete report. Answered all my questions. With that, I'll move to approve the school-sponsored overnight trip for Mountain House High School wrestling team to Reno, Nevada for the Nevada Classic Tournament, December 27th through 29th, 2017.
And I'll second and thank you to our students who are willing to go on their winter break.
Questions or comments by the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absence. Item D, consider approval of school-sponsored overnight trip for the Mountain House High School baseball team to Atascadero High.
We believe that this experience will help our playoff participants from this past spring season, second place in the TVL with a 10-2 record, opportunity to get ready for the TVL season.
I just have a quick comment for Mr. Faubert. The CSBA director that sits next to me at our board meetings is from Atascadero, so if they play them, we need the win. I need bragging rights. Thank you.
And I didn't have a chance to check my email to see if I got a response. Will we get an update on where they're staying? Because there was no hotel information in here.
They're staying at the Hotel 6 in Atascadero.
The Hotel 6?
Is that it? Motel 6, sorry. Have you ever been to Atascadero? It's not real large.
They're
and
staying
there's
at the hotel
The hotel.
in Atascadero.
And there's a restaurant called Duarte's where you can have some kind of like odd artichoke, and it's like a famous artichoke soup.
Okay.
Don't know why I said that.
I will move to approve the school-sponsored overnight trip for Mountain House High School baseball team to Atascadero School, April 2nd, 2018 through April 4th, 2018.
Second.
Further discussion or comment by the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Item E, approval of Exhibit A of the Architectural Services Agreement with Nichols, Melberg, Rosetto for design and construction administration of the Professional Development Center. Staff report?
This is just the next step towards one of our big projects, bringing in a new facility that will allow us to provide an appropriate training center for our teaching staff, our entire staff, and also house some key people in our coordinator work and our IT department.
I'll move for approval of Exhibit A of the Architectural Services Agreement with Nichols, Melberg, and Rosetto for design and construction administration of the Professional Development Center.
Second.
Comments or questions by the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Item 12, information and discussion items. Lammersville Innovation and Leadership Academy. Staff report?
Yeah, I'm going to call up Principal Buzatil up to kind of give a overview of the big vision around the work that you approved for the makerspace, and I think you'll be very excited of her leadership and vision for the kids. It goes much beyond what we've done so far.
Maybe. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi.
Thank you for having me with you tonight.
I'm glad I mentioned our tour earlier.
That was my segue in. No, it's okay.
This is new for me. Is my bed in the audience? I just took it off of yours, now I'm trying to put it back on. Usually there's a little.
We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Want to go to item B and come back?
Oh, I can, or if you have it in front of you, I don't mind. Is it on your screens? No.
No, it's only on one screen.
I like that idea.
We will move on to item B, CSBA Board Workshop. Staff report?
I had actually asked for this to be added to the agenda. So the last time a board workshop came to this board, I had recommended using CSBA. We had our board workshop, and I was less than impressed. What we asked for and what we got were something completely different, and I made my displeasure known to the executive director. After a few conversations with him and Naomi, they would like to give us a different presenter to tackle what we intended to do and work on board protocols and issues that we want to work on, not just this what they gave us was great, but it was very high level, and it was kind of elementary for a well-functioning board. That's what I said. We're a well-functioning board. We just need a little more guidance with some procedural things. So they're offering it free of charge if the board's interested, which means we'd have to come back for another Saturday to do it. So
It's going to be worthwhile. I don't mind a Saturday.
they're assuring me it will. In fact, Naomi's coming personally.
Okay, then I will say yes because I know her. And I know how she presents.
I would both like to thank Trustee Balzerini for going to bat for us and agree with everything he said. I wasn't less than impressed. I was disappointed, frankly, at the presentation we got. It was nothing like what we asked for. It was nothing like what I discussed with the presenter beforehand. And frankly, most of it was stuff that we've all been exposed to on numerous occasions at different CSBA instruction and functions and so on. And I was very disappointed. And again, thank you for going to bat. And I am completely in favor of taking them up on their offer of a replacement workshop. And
Okay. I will email Naomi tomorrow and get her in touch with the district. I'm sure staff will bring it back to us for finding a date.
okay,
Great. Thank you.
sounds good. Thank you. Are we ready
See what
to?
happens when you step out, Noel?
Yes. I was able to get the last one off, but I couldn't figure out how to put the new one on.
Are we ready to go back to item A?
I think we're all set. Good evening again.
Welcome again.
So we've been making transitions at Lammersville Elementary School to kind of like breathe a fresh breath into the school and provide a richer program for our students that will allow them to be competitive, not just with the 21st century skills, but, college preparation, career preparation. And so the journey started before I got there, but I think we really kind of got into the swing last year as I realized the roller coaster of fun that I was on. And so it's been an adventure so far, and I can say that no 2 days of mine have ever been the same. So it's exciting for myself and my staff and my students. So we have phases of implementation. And so as I mentioned, the work started last year, I would say in earnest, probably in January, because that's when I had I think probably the deer in the headlights. Some of that had worn off a little bit, and it will continue through as we go into the winter break. And so the first parts of that was just starting with teachers. One of my first responsibilities was to build relationships with my team. And so part of that work was developing a shared vision of where do we want our students to go. So some of that was looking at our data. How do we compare to other students in our district? What were areas that were strengths of ours, and what were areas where we could, add a more enriching program. And so with that, we went ahead and we were thinking about and defining what does innovation mean for us. Yes, very superficially you can say it's new ideas, doing things differently, but we had to think about what does that mean for students? What does it look like in the classroom? What does it look like on our playgrounds? What does it mean for our teaching practices? And so, even this year I can walk into classrooms and I see things that are tremendously different from one week to the other based on our district initiatives and our expectations for students and small group instruction. And so we're moving in a very, very positive direction with all of that. And the other thing that I would like to mention is also leadership, not just leadership of our staff, but also student leaders. And we want them to be very powerful members of their learning experience that they have from a K-8 and then ongoing into the high school. And so we had very candid conversations with staff about our students aren't going to become leaders by teachers doing. We need the students to have those experiences, have the successes, the potential failures, so that we can figure out what are we learning from those? What are the things that we can gain and the new insights that we can have? We also talked about, yes, we have all of these things that we are bringing to the table, but we also had to identify our areas of needs. And one of those was additional staff training in the area of Project Lead the Way. So at the start of last year, we had just one Project Lead the Way course going at a time in our 6th through 8th grade elective wheel. And when we hired our Mr. Caballero, who is our Title I teacher / advanced math teacher / Project Lead the Way teacher, he wears many, many hats. And one of his was to also start infusing the Project Lead the Way K through 5. So big task, and he did not have the big trainings initially. I was so pleased when I went to see staff members that were interested in additional training. We went from having one trained teacher to having 4 additional new trained teachers, and then Ms. Hallam, the teacher that was already our 6th through 8th grade, she added new modules that she could provide to students. So we went from having a very slim offering to something that is much more comprehensive. So now it's a whole network of teachers that are presenting Project Lead the Way, having a shared mindset, and not just one person presenting the information and being the holder of knowledge. So it's really exciting to kind of see them talking about things at not just the site level, but also when they get together with district staff members as well. The other thing that we wanted to make sure is that we were bringing in the community. So we've been talking about things at the school site council level. We've been talking about changes and needs in the LPAC meetings, because that's a little small, close-knit group of parents as well. And during our school site council meeting this afternoon, one of our parents shared an observation of that he believes that our English learner parents are becoming more and more infused in our school culture, because, as he described it, they used to drop off the kids and go. And now they're staying on campus and they're engaging more and more. Right now they're with one another for the most part, but that's a big growth because they're excited about what they're seeing going on our campus, and they've been very complimentary about the experiences that they're seeing for their students as well. Because when we have the experiential learning, the students, regardless of the language, are able to see things and explore. So that's been very exciting. We also needed professional development in regards to the Fab Lab. If you go out to San Joaquin County Office of Education, they have a tremendous program that's going out there. I went last year. Ms. Hallam went as well, and we have additional staff members that we're going to be sending there to kind of get a preview of what direction we would like to step into. And I know we also have some fantastic things happening at our high school. So that's part of the partnership that we want our staff to go over there as well. So we have a fluid movement, to the high school, and then also in the future back down again. So very soon, we're unpacking boxes still, but we do anticipate having a grand opening of the Infinity Lab. And so once we are able to identify a date, we'll share all of that with you, and hope that you'll be able to join us as well as our community. Moving on to phase 2, I'm anticipating it's going to start this January and head into next May. And so what we're looking at there is a new mindset of talking about the constructive struggling that students can have, and how does that lead to new learning experiences for them. So basically, how do we take a problem-based learning experience, and what can students glean from that? So we're providing students with not just one set of tools, so whether it's the Ozabots, the Makey-Makeys, I'm looking at the Strawbees right now, which is a way to make prototypes out of something's very similar to a straw, but you can make simple machines out of them. So how do you take these items that to someone, a student that might be kind of intimidated, I'm not an engineer, what does that look like, what does that sound like, but you show them straws are not scary. So I can build something and I can see it operate. And then how do I take this design that I have and change it into something new and exciting? How do I see a need and design something to meet a need? So that's what we're looking into moving forward. And I will say, what used to be a dead space in our campus, now we can hardly get kids out of. Even with the boxes and things like that, there are kids in the Infinity Lab from the moment it opens to well after school ends, because they're in there tinkering, playing, exploring, and reading good old-fashioned books as well. So they're having a great time there. Moving forward, one of the things that we would like to do is innovation nights, and that actually came from one of our staff meetings when we were just coming back this school year, and teachers are talking about what would it look like to open up our campus and have students hosting different activities that they're the experts of, that they're teaching their parents about, other community members about. So that would be innovation nights. We would like to get a few of them on site this school year, so that students are able to share everything that they're learning. So the bottom right picture is one of our little girls. So some of the others are inspiration pictures, but there's also our students infused in there as well. And she's using one of the Ozabot Evos. And right now we're in the very beginning phases, but it's introduction to like coding. So I heard a reference to girls who code earlier. So it's like, how do we make those things approachable for all of our students, and then especially some of our girls that maybe that's not something that they were exposed to initially, or sometimes we can have an unintended bias. So how do we make it something that's open to all students, whether you're male, female, an English learner, someone that would be identified as a GATE student, someone that wouldn't be, maybe someone's on an IEP. So how do we make it something for everyone? And I've talked briefly before about, collaboration with Mountain House High School, because at the end of the day, our K-8 programs, not just at my site, but all of the sites feed into Mountain House High School. And my school is a little bit different, where a lot of our kids come from town. They come from Tracy. And so we want our students from Lammersville Elementary School to make the choice to go to Mountain House High School, not their home high school. We want to kind of pull our kiddos and keep them here. And so one of the best ways that we can do that is to make sure that our program aligns with what our high school is doing. And so with that, we're planning and being very intentional about the programs that we offer and how do we build it. And then, well, sometimes I sit in a lot of board meetings, and so then I hear Principal Faubert say something, I'm like, that's brilliant. Okay, how can I make that work for our site? How do I streamline it down, and what would it look like for a kindergartner? And so that by the time my kindergartner gets up to 9th grade, I'm giving the high school teachers a student that has already had a wealth of experiences that are in line with their pathways as well. And then also, the other thing would be dual use in regards to facilities. So I have some land, it's very open, and so we have lots of opportunities to expand our garden, which we're already doing. We're past the septic saga, which I still have a folder of pictures titled that. Side note, I just about laughed inappropriately when I went out to see the playground being built and realized that they had broken another water pipe. I was like, I cannot make this stuff up. Poor Jimmy, I just sent him pictures of water spouting everywhere on campus. Can we fix this one now? It is an adventure every day. If you ever want swim lessons, come to Lammersville. We have lakes. And so with that is, what would a program look like? And similar to how the Infinity Lab, that was like my brainstorm, how I talked to myself about that. The next brainchild that's kind of evolving is something that I'm referring to as the Ag Lab. Is that going to stay? I don't know, but that's just how I think of it. And so what would that look like with our students in regards to like a 4-H type of program, having high school students having the opportunity to come and have some of those experiences on my site, but then also serving the needs of my students as well, with students teaching students and learning, students learning by doing because they're teaching little ones and vice versa. And what does some of that collaboration look like as we go K through 12 potentially? So I'm very, very excited about those opportunities. And so I'm looking forward to those next planning phases of what that can look like. The other thing would be not just the Ag Lab, but also the media arts, the multimedia arts production center. In my center's a corner, we'll call it a corner, in the Infinity Lab. And so my goal is to make sure that whatever I'm doing with my students is going to be in line with what programs they're using at the high school. So for example, if the industry standard is Adobe, we want to make sure that they're using Adobe at the in my program as well, so that they have a seamless transition from one program into the next. All right, phase 3. So we're looking at potentially May of 2018 to May of 2019. Again, these are just my rough estimations since I haven't quite done this before. So I'm optimistic about all of this. And so one of the things in regards to the Ag Lab is taking it beyond just the garden, which we have. We'll be doing the greenhouse. It's coming, it's coming. I need a sign that says that too, right after the playground. Yes, it'll be finished. Small farm animals, chickens. I would like to have some goats, other small livestock type of animals, but then also understanding and studying weather patterns. How does weather influence crop yield? Can students create and design experiments to force weather conditions and see what the impact they have? What about cross-pollinations? What kind of things can we get to happen in our garden? And also the cycle that we have from the plants all the way through to our animals. Our garden students were very excited this week because they had harvested their microgreens, so they were very excited. I don't think they probably eat microgreens on a regular basis, but they were excited to eat them because they had grown them. So moving on, we also wanted to talk about the Infinity Lab Phase 2, so right now we're in the very early phases, but eventually we would like to add like a 3D printer, a laser cutter, and then also more items for the kids to be able to build and explore. And then with that, it would be innovation challenges where students are able to have like constructive competition and share that, because I don't know if you guys have seen the video yet, but Lisa Gilmore came out and spoke with my staff members on Science Fair, and she showed their new promotional video. And if you haven't seen it yet, it's not posted, but all except for one of the students is a Lammersville Unified School District student in the video that's going to be posted. And so I was excited watching it because I saw Cuesta kids, I saw Altamont kids, and so it was just exciting to see all these different faces and recognize names and to know that those were our kids and that we're being used as a way to sell science fair at the county level of how do we get kids excited. And so, with the innovation challenges, one of the things that the kids mentioned the most, like what they learned from that experience, was being able to talk about and share their project learnings with other people, with the public. And so with innovation challenges, it would be very similar to that, to where they're able to go and share with the community and talk about it and have pride in the craftsmanship from, you know, the original design that they created all the way up through the actual production. So full implementation. So at the end of the day, we're looking to have a program, and again, you know, there's some of our Lammersville kiddos, whoopsie, oh, wrong button. Okay, got it. Okay, so the left picture is our students, and then the right side picture is, you know, again, ideas of what it could look like, kids talking about weather experiments, kids designing challenges, and so that's just a sampling of what we could be working towards. At the end of the day, while I had pictures in each one of these slides that were inspiration from elsewhere, I also had some of our Lammersville students in there as well, because we have hints of all of this happening already, and so now it's just waiting and watching it come to fruition. At the end of the day, we want our Ag Lab to provide an enriching blend of tradition and science for our students. We want the Infinity Lab for a place for kids to design, to solve problems, and to see those ideas come to life. And at the end of the day, we want all of our students to leave our elementary school, transition to the high school with a very solid foundation to be college and career ready with 21st century skills, and have a mindset that lets them believe that anything is possible and have the skills to make that happen.
Can I be a student at Lammersville?
I was just going to say that too.
Thank you, and I'd just like to say that your level of enthusiasm for these project is amazing. It's very gratifying to see, and if our students and the rest of our staff have anywhere near that level of enthusiasm for the programs, they're bound to be a rousing success.
Thank you.
Enthusiasm with the vision.
Indeed.
Mrs. Bustatil, I have to say, your enthusiasm is contagious, and what you are doing at that elementary school is nothing short of spectacular. I would really like to have a tour of all of those. You know, this is just so incredible, and thank you so much for the energy and the enthusiasm that you put into that school and those children. Thank you.
Thank you.
A lot of the things I was going to say, a lot of enthusiasm, I appreciate it, and this is great stuff. Very smart, very strategic, and well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to say that too. It sounds so amazing. I know if I was in the school, I would have been so ecstatic about all of it. It's crazy. It sounds awesome.
Thank you.
And also, I appreciate your forward looking at things that will follow into the high school programs and stuff that the kids can flow into high school with, and it's just, I really look forward to seeing how this plays out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item C, DARE graduation dates.
Simply put, we wanted to have the boards have those dates, and I believe Lammersville will be coming soon. That one hasn't been set yet, but when we get it, you'll get it as soon as we get it.
Did you want us to RSVP with the district or directly with Officer Abs?
Why don't you, let's do it through the district, and that way we can know who's going, and
Very good. I'll send you an email.
Okay, well, if you could just write it down. I plan on going to all of them. Unfortunately, I can't make it to Bethany.
You want all of them now? You want all of them now? Or just send an email? I can make Cuesta and Altamont. The other week I'll be gone, so November 7th, November 9th I can make.
I believe I can make all of them. Yes. Pending the date for Lammersville, I will make all of them.
And I apologize, I will have to get back to you.
then we can send an email to Ann.
Do we know if Lammersville's is going to be like within that couple of weeks or like 3 weeks later? Any ideas?
I have Mr. Harrison?
Once the lessons at the schools on the list are completed, then he'll have time to start with Lammersville. So about the same time period, I think it's almost 2 months, they'll be completed and they'll have a graduation date.
Oh, so they're on a different schedule. Okay,
Yes,
got it.
because he didn't have time
Got
to
it.
schedule do all the schools at the same
Right.
time, so he had to, Lammersville,
So it'll be in the
is-
winter. Okay,
yeah, it starts in November, it'll be in the winter.
okay.
And I'll let you know as soon as we have a date.
Yeah, not a problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Item D, 2018 National School Boards Association Annual Conference, April 7th through 9th. Staff report?
We put this back on here to see if there's any interest of any individual board members who'd like to attend it. It's in San Antonio.
I'm interested, but I wouldn't want to go just alone. So I would only want to go if one or two or more other board members wanted to go.
Yeah, I can't make those dates.
The funds are there for professional development.
I believe I can, yes, I can make those dates. I would be happy to accompany Trustee Lampel.
Well, that would be just splendid. And I don't know if Trustee Goodrich has had a chance to look at the dates. I don't think she's reading her agenda in Greece.
No, I think she's probably, I can't wait to hear about Crete.
Yeah.
If she is, we need to have a talk.
Yes.
I tried to read mine in Portugal, and it wouldn't allow me to open it in Portugal, something about
That's because
security or
that's just wrong.
something.
President Pombo,
Wouldn't be the
we
first
need
thing
to
I-
have a talk.
I wasn't going to read it in Portuguese, by the way. It was-
Yeah.
The fact that you even tried to open it up while you were in Portugal.
I'm a nerd, what can I say? Item E, San Joaquin County School Boards Association Annual Dinner, November 2nd.
I will be attending that.
Staff report?
We're looking for attendees, and we'd also like to know if you'd like to have chicken, salmon, or veggies.
So in looking at my calendar, that is the same night as the white coat ceremony. So I think it would be a good idea if the board divided in half. As much as I enjoy going to those dinners, I would prefer going to the white coat ceremony. If they weren't on the same night, I would go to both.
I have the white coat ceremony on the 3rd. Is that,
Principal Faubert is going to double check that date.
I had read something on Facebook, and then someone at the district had sent us a date. Maybe I entered it wrong.
or maybe I did.
Let's hope so.
I don't know.
Trustee Balzerina, would you like chicken, salmon, or vegetable plate?
I'll do the chicken, please. Thank you.
Now, what did you say, Matt? You have the ceremony on what date?
On the 3rd.
That wouldn't be on a Friday.
I
No?
have it on the 2nd.
On the 2nd? Oh, maybe I entered it wrong.
Yeah.
See?
Okay, so I'll pass on the CSBA dinner and I'll go to the white coat ceremony.
It's county. Yeah, that's right.
County.
I'm in county, yeah.
I don't know yet. Sorry.
If you decide, we'd also like to know if you want chicken, salmon, or vegetables.
Yes.
I will also wait and see what the rest of the board does, so we don't all go to one thing. But if I do go to the School Boards Association dinner, I would like steak, please.
The county.
And seeing that that's not an option, I will defer to chicken.
Then he'll go to the white coat ceremony since he can't have steak.
Moving on to calendar. Wednesday, October 11th is the next Wellness Committee meeting right here at 3:30. And Wednesday, October 18th is the next regular school board meeting, not listed on the calendar, but coming up nonetheless. The high school homecoming will be Friday, October 20th. I hope to see everybody at the parade as well as at the game. And in just a moment, we will be adjourning to closed session where we will be discussing public employee discipline dismissal release complaint, conference with legal counsel, conference with real property negotiators.
Move to adjourn a closed session.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We are now adjourned to closed session. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.